So, coming into a standing position and closing your eyes, beginning to notice what you're experiencing in this moment. Acknowledging any thoughts, stories, or expectations that you've brought to today's practice. Seeing if you can just allow them to fade to the background. Now bringing attention to the way the body feels standing here. Noticing your posture and alignment. From the head stacked on top of the shoulders, connected to the ribs, supported by the hips, on top of the knees, ankles, and feet. Now, begin to notice the sensations of breathing. As you continue to stand and breathe, noticing if there are any areas of tension or soreness in the body, or maybe noticing areas of ease and relaxation. Setting the intention to be fully present to the body, however it feels, with a sense of kindness and curiosity. Remember, as we begin to move, that the point of this practice is not to accomplish anything or achieve a result. It's simply to be present to the sensations of your body in both stillness and in movement. So when you're ready, we'll begin with the first movement, which is a head roll, by simply beginning to lower the right ear toward the shoulder, and then bringing the chin to the chest, and continuing all the way around to the other side for 3 repetitions. Being fully present to any sensations in the neck or the upper back. Remembering to breathe at your own pace. And then switching sides. Coming back to center, pausing and just noticing the impact of that simple movement on your body. Now bringing attention into the shoulders and beginning to inhale as the shoulders shrug up toward the ears, roll back together, and then breathing out as they lower down and come back to neutral. Doing it again, this time rolling up and back and down and relaxing. Big inhale and exhale. And switching directions, bringing the shoulders back together, and then up, and then forward, and then down. 3 more on your own. And then pausing, again checking in with the body in stillness. Before bringing attention into the hands, feeling the hands just dangling there by your sides, maybe even noticing energy in the hands. And when you're ready, beginning to float the hands and arms out by your sides and all the way up toward the ceiling. Then lifting the gaze up between the hands and extending upward as if the heart could lift between the hands. Pausing, breathing, feeling long and tall. Being present, meditating while standing with your arms raised. Taking a bigger than normal in-breath, and then breathing out, floating the hands back down by your sides. Then tilting the chin to the chest and going straight into a roll down, peeling the spine down 1 vertebrae at a time, just going down as far as your body is comfortable with, and holding. You might want to soften the knees if that helps. And then just remaining present to whatever sensations are strongest. maybe in the lower back or the back of the thighs. Taking a bigger than normal in-breath, pressing into the heels, using the legs to lift and stack the spine back up, one vertebrae at a time. Standing tall, holding, closing the eyes, noticing what's there. If there's any dizziness in the transition, you can open the eyes back up. The point is to simply be present to what's happening in this moment. And now again, bringing attention into the hands. And when you're ready, floating the hands up toward the ceiling. Keeping the right hand up, but now bending the left hand down to the side and side bending along with it. Gazing up at the up hand, even rotating through the chest. Breathing, holding, feeling the stretch through the right side of the body. If you can't breathe normally here, you might want to back off the movement just a little bit. Or you might experiment with side bending a little further. Taking another big inhale, starting to stand tall, and then bringing that left hand up to meet the right hand, both arms lifted. Pausing for a moment. And then floating the right hand down by your side and beginning to side bend to the right side of the room. Remembering to rotate the chest and eyes up toward the left hand. Breathing. Being present to sensations. Taking one more inhale and then raising the right hand up, both hands up tall. Pausing. Bringing the hands down just a couple inches in front of you and sitting down into a chair squat. You may want to bring your feet all the way together for this if it's more comfortable for you. And pausing. This movement particularly might bring more sensation than previous movements. See if you can stay fully present to the sensations in the thighs. Stay present to your breath. And notice any kind of thoughts that come and go as you hold this movement. Remembering that you don't have to wait for us and our cue. You can come up at any time. Just staying present with what your body can do. And taking one more inhale and breathing out, standing back up, allowing your hands to float to the sides, closing the eyes, checking in, noticing the impact of that movement. Maybe a quickening of the breath, a faster heartbeat, an increased body temperature, just noticing. Now opening the eyes again, we're about to go into a balancing posture. So floating the arms out by your sides, shifting 80% of your weight onto the right foot, going up onto the left tiptoe and sliding that tiptoe out away from you. You can either stay here using the foot as a kickstand, or you can raise that left foot up and hold. Noticing what's required in that stable right leg. Feeling the ankle, balancing, feeling what's happening in that right foot. You can use that foot for a kickstand at any time. Now bringing the leg forward and holding balance here. Maybe experimenting with raising it up a little higher or lowering it down a little bit, just noticing what that does. Bringing that left leg back out by the side, and then bringing it back behind you. Leaning forward just slightly. Noticing what's required to hold this position. Present to any thoughts going through the mind. Allowing thoughts to just come and go, but staying focused on the body as the primary object of attention. Bringing that left leg back to the side and choosing when to put it back down. Pausing, closing the eyes, checking in. Feeling the ease of rest between both sides. All right, now switching sides. First, raising the arms out by your sides for balance. Shifting the weight into the left leg, going up onto the right tiptoe, and then raising it up if you want the challenge of balancing. Holding and noticing what's happening in the left leg, in the left ankle and foot. Present to the muscles required to balance. And now slowly bringing that right leg forward in space, remembering that you can use that front foot as a kickstand at any time. Pausing and breathing here. Bringing the right leg back out by your side, and then moving it back behind you. Pausing here, leaning forward just slightly. Staying connected with breath and sensation. Bringing that right leg back to the side and choosing when you're ready to set it back down. And coming back into a closed-eyed rest position. Checking in. Now we're going to transition down into a plank position. So whenever you're ready, starting to roll down by first tilting the chin to the chest and then following through with the upper back, mid-back, all the way down until the hands can plant firmly on the ground or mat in front of you, and then stepping back one leg at a time and holding a push-up plank position, feeling the alignment of the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles, feeling the strength of the arms, knowing that you can come down to your knees, which will probably be necessary for most. Holding for a moment longer, noticing sensation required to hold this position. And now, slowly lowering the chest down all the way to the mat. And then lifting the chest up into extension, using those upper and lower back muscles, pushing through with the arms and coming up just as high as is appropriate for your body. Continuing to listen to your body's wisdom and your own limitations. Holding, breathing, being present to this extension. To transition out of this, we'll go back onto all fours before transitioning into a downward facing dog, rolling the toes under and pressing the hips up high to the ceiling and holding. Feeling the strength of the shoulders, feeling a stretch in the back of the thighs. Continuing to follow the breath, one cycle after the next. And now raising the right leg all the way straight back behind you. Pausing, noticing what's required to hold this three-legged position. And then swinging that leg all the way through between the palms, using the hands up on top of the knees to help balance, And pressing the chest up off the thighs, then extending the arms toward the ceiling, extending through the spine as well, holding, breathing, feeling into the body. We're going to now transition into what's called a Warrior Two by spiraling the back heel down to flat, swinging the back arm open, and then staying low in that front leg, straight in the back leg. Holding, feeling the strength, the discipline of this posture. Now we're going to reach forward and plant that front hand down on the ground. Follow the back hand with the eyes and hold. It may be also easier to rest that front elbow on top of the knee. Continue to hold and notice any sensations. Keeping the feet and legs the same, we're going to transition the upper body back into Warrior Two and then into an extension, reaching that right hand up toward the ceiling and holding. Breathing into that right side of the body. Continuing to stay bent through the front knee. And now transitioning back to the Warrior Two and then windmilling both arms forward and kicking back into a plank position, lowering down to the knees and sitting back into what's called a child's pose or rest position. Pausing here, breathing. This is an opportunity to surrender, to fully let go. So maybe taking some deeper than normal breaths, allowing the release on the out breath. And when you're ready, coming back up onto all fours and transitioning back into the downward facing dog. Holding here for a moment. The left leg will now lift up toward the ceiling, pausing first, breathing normally, and then swinging that leg through the palms and pressing yourself up using the support of the hands if you need. And then arms extend up toward the ceiling, slight back bend. Holding, breathing, feeling the stability of a mountain, even in this balancing posture. Now we'll transition this into Warrior Two and holding. Feeling the straightness of that back leg, being strong in the front leg, experimenting with lowering down a little bit deeper or raising up out of it, remembering to honor your range of motion, whatever feels right for you. Next, reaching forward and putting that front elbow on the front knee, gazing upward at the front hand, holding, breathing. If you feel that you have the flexibility for it, that forward hand can go all the way down to the ground. Transitioning back into the Warrior Two, and then adding an extension by lifting that left hand up toward the ceiling, gazing up at the palm, holding, Feeling the stretch through that left rib cage. Coming back to the warrior two, windmilling the arms forward, planting them on the mat, and kicking back into a plank position again, holding, and then transitioning into a child's pose, relaxing, surrendering. But continuing to stay fully present to your experience, staying present to the breath. Now, coming up onto all fours, making sure that the knees are directly below the hips and the hands are directly below the shoulders, we're going to go into a cat-cow. So beginning by tilting the chin to the chest, arching the back like a mad cat, holding this for a moment, breathing, and then transitioning into extension, lifting the gaze, swaying the back, pausing. And then continuing on your own for 2 or 3 more. Exhaling, inhaling, long, slow breaths with each movement. When you're done, coming back to center, pausing. And we're about to go into an arm and leg extension. So putting attention in the right hand and left foot. Beginning to slide the hands and feet away from one another. And then lifting them up in the air and holding. Breathing. Noticing the sensations in the muscles required to hold this position. Taking one more big in-breath and breathing out, returning. Recentering, and then putting attention in the left hand and right foot. And when you're ready, beginning to reach those out away from one another and holding. Continuing to stay centered, present. Taking another in-breath and breathing out to return. Let's separate the knees, but keep the heels together, creating a wide base for the hips. We're going to do an upper back extension. So first putting attention in the right hand. And when you're ready, beginning to lift the right hand all the way to the ceiling, gazing at it with your eyes. Feeling this extension through the upper back, through the ribs, holding, reaching, twisting, breathing. Taking another big in-breath and breathing out to return. Putting attention on the left hand, and when you're ready, doing the same thing on that side. Reaching up, holding, twisting, breathing. Taking one more big inhale here, And breathing out, lowering that hand back down and completing with another child's pose, sitting back and surrendering. And we'll complete today's practice with a quick body scan. So now transitioning onto your back. And first just noticing what it's like to change positions, to be on your back. Feeling the hard but supportive floor. Feeling the breath. And then bringing attention now all down into your feet, being fully present to the sensations of the feet, the heels touching the ground, the toes, the soles of the feet, the tops of the feet. And then scanning up through the ankles into the lower legs, the calves and shins. Being fully present to the knees now, coming up to the knees. Feeling into the thighs, the backs of the thighs in contact with the mat. The sides and fronts of the thighs. Coming into the hips, feeling into that pelvic bowl, the way the buttocks is in contact with the mat. Coming up into the torso, feeling the lower back, mid back, and upper back. Feeling the front of the torso, the belly, the ribs, feeling into the chest, maybe even noticing the beating of the heart. Bringing attention now into the shoulders, present to any sensations in the shoulders. Into the upper arms, the biceps and the triceps. The elbows, forearms, and the hands, resting for a moment, feeling the hands as if from the inside out, noticing sensations or energy. And then leaving the hands and arms to move back up into the neck, the throat, the cervical spine, and the muscles that border it. Feeling the head in contact with the ground, the scalp, the forehead and between the eyebrows, the eyes resting in their sockets, the nose, mouth, noticing the tongue and sensations of moisture or dryness, feeling the chin, jaw, cheeks and ear. Now reintegrating the body so that we can feel it as a whole, feeling the whole head, plus the neck, shoulders, arms and hands, the full torso, back and front, side to side, the pelvis, thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, and feet. feeling the body as a whole, lying here, feeling into even the space around you as you breathe in and breathe out, feeling complete, feeling whole. And you can continue to lie here for as long as you'd like, resting, breathing. And remember that you can bring the same presence into the rest of your day.